Hey guys, in this video we are going to talk about a special application of joint probability distributions. So that is conditional probability. So the fact that joint probability distributions are defined by two or more variables allows us to combine this topic with conditional probabilities, which is also defined by two or more variables. Now recall the definition of conditional probability. So when we say the probability of A given B, so that is the probability of A given that B occurred. This is equal to the probability that both A and B occurred divided by or over the probability that B occurred, given that the probability of B is not equal to 0. Again, i-combine natin siya doon sa concept ng joint probability. Okay? So, let's say A is the event that the random variable y is equal to y, and then B naman is the event that the random variable x is equal to x. Therefore, yung conditional probability natin dito ngayon, so isa-substitute lang natin yung y equal to y for A and then x equal to x for B. So, ito na yung magiging itsura ng conditional probability natin. This is the probability that the random variable y will be equal to y given that the random variable x is equal to x. So, this is equal to the probability that y is equal to y and then x is equal to x over the probability that x will have the value of x. So, given that the probability that x will have the value of x not equal to 0. Kung mapapansin nyo, itong nasa numerator natin, the probability that y will be equal to y and then x will be equal to x is actually our joint probability distribution function f of x, y. And then the probability that x will be equal to x, so iisang variable lang yung tinitingnan natin dito, no? So pag iisang variable lang out of two or more, that is given by the marginal distribution. So this is the marginal distribution g of x. Ngayon, this special type of distribution, conditional probability distribution, can now be used to compute conditional probabilities. So if we want to solve for the probability that y will be equal to y given that x is equal to x, we simply need to evaluate f of x and y over g of x given that g of x is not equal to 0. Now take note that this function or this equation can be used or can be applied for discrete or continuous random variables. So mamaya na i-apply natin in our examples. For our formal definition, let x and y be two random variables. Again, it can be discrete or continuous. So the conditional distribution of the random variable y, given that x is equal to x, is given by this equation. So we have f of y given x, that is equal to f of xy over the marginal distribution g of x, provided that g of x is not equal to 0. And then, similarly, kung baliktad naman, the conditional distribution of x naman, given that y is equal to y, that will be f of x given y equal to f of xy over the marginal distribution of y, h of y. So again, provided that h of y is not equal to 0. Okay, ngayon, if we wish to obtain the probability naman that the discrete random variable x falls between an interval, so let's say between a and b. Now, given that the discrete random variable y is equal to y, we can simply solve this by evaluating this equation. So we have, again, the probability of x having values between a and b, given na yung value ng y is equal to y. So we can solve this by simply evaluating the function f of x given y over the values of x between a and b. So again, itong f of x given y is our conditional probability distribution, no? So as we have defined earlier. Summation, yung ginamit natin dito, so this is only applicable for discrete random variables. Ngayon naman, paano naman for continuous random variables? How can we solve for the probability that x will be between a and b given that y is equal to y? If we're dealing with continuous random variables, this can simply be solved by evaluating f of x given y with respect to x. And then yung limits natin dito will be the interval of x, so that is from a to b. Okay, so let us apply this to our first example. For the probability distribution below, find the conditional probability distribution of x given that y is equal to 1 and use it to determine the probability that x will be equal to 0 given that y is equal to 1. So yung function natin dito is f of xy equal to x plus y over 30 for values of x equal to 0, 1, 2, and 3, and then for values of y equal to 0, 1, and 2. First, we need to obtain the conditional distribution f of x given y, where y is equal to 1. We have here f of x given 1. So yung value ng y natin dito is equal to 1. This will simply be equal to f of x 1 over h of 1. Okay, so marginal distribution of y equal to 1, yung denominator natin. So first, we need to obtain the value of h of 1. Okay, since this is a marginal distribution of y, we simply need to evaluate our function over the values of x. So we have f of x 1. Again, yung value ng y natin dito is 1. So we need to evaluate that over all values of x. So we have f of 0, 1 plus f of 1, 1 plus f of 2, 1 plus f of 3, 1. And then, simply adding the corresponding probabilities, we have the marginal distribution h of 1 equal to 1 over 3. So ito na yung magiging denominator natin dito. Okay? Therefore, the conditional distribution of x given that y is equal to 1 will be equal to f of x1 over 1/3. Since this is discrete, we can summarize our probability distribution in a table. Dito sa first row natin, ilalagay natin yung values ng x, and then for the second row, we are going to write the conditional probability f of x given 1. If x is equal to 0, okay, so yung conditional probability f of 0 given 1 will be equal to f of 0, 1 over 1/3. Ibig sabihin, this is the probability that the value of x will be equal to 0 given na yung value ng y is equal to 1. So, yung numerator natin dito, f of 0, 1, this is equal to 1 over 30. Again, based dun sa function given sa problem, no? And then simplifying this, we have 1 over 30 over 1/3, which is equal to 1 over 10. Therefore, the probability that x will have a value of 0, given that y is 1, is equal to 1 over 10. And then same din, ano? So, yung probability naman na yung x natin is equal to 1, given na yung y natin is 1, so that will be equal to f of 1, 1 over 1/3. So this numerator, that is simply equal to 2 over 30. Therefore, this is equal to 1 over 5. Okay? So this means that the probability that x will be equal to 1, given that y is 1, that is equal to 1 over 5. And then same lang for the other values of x now. For x equal to 2 and x equal to 3, the conditional probabilities are 3 over 10 and 2 over 5 respectively. Ito na ngayon yung conditional probabilities of x given na yung value ng y natin is equal to 1. To answer the second question, ano na yung probability na x natin is equal to 0 given that y is 1? Looking at our table here, ito yung tinutukoy niya, no? So yung value ng x natin is 0 given na yung value ng y is 1. Therefore, the probability here is equal to 1 over 10. Moving on to our next example, continuous random variables naman. Given the joint density function, f of xy equal to, we have x times 1 plus 3y squared over 4 for values of x between 0 and 2, and values of y between 0 and 1, and then 0 elsewhere. Find the marginal distribution g of x, h of y, conditional distribution f of x given y, and the probability that x will have a value between 1/4 and 1/2 given that y is equal to 1/3. So again, in order to solve for the marginal distribution g of x, we simply need to evaluate our function with respect to y. Okay, so for all values of y, we have here the integral of x times 1 plus 3y squared over 4 dy, and then yung limits natin will be the values of y, which are 0 and 1. Therefore, the marginal distribution of x here is equal to x over 2. And then, to solve for the marginal distribution h of y, so we simply need to evaluate or integrate our function with respect to x. The integral of x times 1 plus 3y squared over 4 dx. And then yung limits natin will be the values of x, that is from 0 to 2. Evaluating this integral, we will obtain the marginal distribution of y equal to 1 plus 3y squared over 2. And then from the definition of conditional density, so take note, density yung ginagamit natin na term for continuous random variables. So we have f of x given y. By definition, this will be equal to f of x, y over the marginal distribution h of y. Our function f of xy, galing dun sa problem, that is simply x times 1 plus 3y squared over 4. And then, yung marginal distribution h of y natin, so nasolve lang natin, bago lang, that was equal to 1 plus 3y squared over 2. And then simplifying this, so itong terms na to magka-cancel out lang, we will have f of x given y equal to x over 2. Ito na ngayon yung gagamitin natin in order to evaluate our probability, yung probability that x will have a value between 1/4 and 1/2 given na y is equal to 1/3. We simply need to evaluate our conditional probability function f of x given y with respect to x. Okay, so yung limits natin dito will be from 1/4 to 1/2. So this will be integral of x over 2 dx from 1/4 to 1/2. Okay, evaluating this integral, we will obtain 3 over 64. Therefore, the probability that x will have a value between 1/4 and 1/2 given na yung y is 1/3 is equal to 3 over 64. Okay, so that's it for this video guys. Hopefully may ganito ng bago. So see you on the next one.